Cancer, hello. Welcome to your October reading. This is Crow Indigo Intuitive Tarot, and we are consulting Spirit today for Cancer, Sun, Moon, or Rising positioning. It is a general reading, and it won't speak to all of you, but if it's not seeming to be relevant to you, there are many other folks on YouTube doing readings for October, and perhaps one of those readings will be more pertinent to your present situation. There may be certain parts of this that are relevant to you, however. I consulted Spirit as to what we should be looking at in October, and we have a 3-part reading today. So the first will be 5 cards around what we can shed in October, Cancer. So in the northern part of the northern hemisphere this time of year, the trees are dropping their leaves, and that's because they understand, sort of just know inherently that they aren't going to need those leaves in the coming season. And when they need leaves again, they will have leaves again. So as a metaphor for our situation, we're looking at that concept of shedding what is no longer needed and asking Spirit to give some guidance there. Then the second row will be 5 cards relating to our personal growth path. And for Cancer in October, how is perspective shifting? What is coming into view that's helping to make us ready for or putting us on that path forward? And for some, there's been indications of a lot of progress this month, a lot of moving forward based on intuitive hits that are coming in. It's a really excellent time of year for getting in touch with your intuition. We will then pull 2 cards regarding purpose, and for those of you that know what your purpose is, this will hopefully give you a little bit of guidance on next steps in fulfilling your purpose. And if you have no idea what your purpose is, perhaps it'll give you some guideposts to help you figure that out. We'll finish up with 1 oracle card at the end for some further guidance. So let's just get to it. We need 5 cards. Please, Spirit, for Cancer, with regard to what Cancer is shedding this month in order to make room for the new. 5 cards, please, for Cancer. We will also do some clarifying cards as well after we've reviewed our first 10 cards. We'll be using the Wild Unknown Tarot from Kim Kranz as our main deck, and the clarifiers will come from the White Sage Tarot. There are 2 more cards, please. 2 more cards, please, Spirit, for Cancer, for our first line regarding what we're shedding this season. It's hard to believe it's October already. 2 more cards, please. All of a sudden, the deck has gotten quite tight. Let me center myself for a second here. Spirit, guidance for Cancer, please. Thank you. 1 more, please, for Cancer. Get some guidance for Cancer. Thank you. Okay, we have our 5. We need 5 more now. Spirit, please, with regard to the focus shift for personal growth for Cancer. That's more than 1 for sure. Oh, there you go. Guess there's a very clear indication here from Spirit right away. We just need 1 more card. 1 more card for Cancer, please, Spirit. 1 more card with regard to personal growth path, shifting focus for October for Cancer. 1 card, please. No, it didn't fall. 1 more card, please, for Cancer. One more card, please, for Cancer Spirit with regard to personal growth in October. Now we'll just take 2 cards for the question of purpose. 2 cards, please, for Cancer Spirit. Some guided posts for Cancer, please, Spirit, with regard to purpose. 2 cards, please. I feel like you're in a hurry today, Cancer. 2 cards, please, for Cancer. 2 cards with regard to purpose, please, Spirit, for Cancer for October. All right. Now, let's see what we have. With regard to the question of what you are letting go, it looks like you have some choices. You're in a position where you are coming to understand that your future is made by the choices you make today. And as you sit with that knowledge, pardon me, the air conditioner's just popped on, but as you sit with the knowledge of your choices and the ability to make choices that rests with you, and how those choices affect your future, you start to see more options. So I find you're in a space now where you realize you have many more options than you thought you had. Many more. And that's a little bit overwhelming for you. So it's put you in this space right now, Cancer, where you've gone into yourself, into your shell, like this turtle, represented by the Hermit card here. And you're consulting your inner voice. This is a good time of year to do that. I think that all signs experience a heightened level of intuition this time of year. And as you're consulting yourself, you're trying to understand what really matters to you. You're trying to understand some pretty profound questions right now, Cancer, and trying to see which one of these choices might be the best one to make. That's followed by the Sun of Swords energy. In this deck, the Suns are knights, and that Knight of Swords has this energy of action. It can be a bit impulsive, but it's calling you to make choices now, to move forward, to take action, and to do something. And that's coming up against this desire of yours to sort of fold in on yourself and consider contemplatively what is the best thing to do. There's an urge in you as well, or perhaps in the energy around you, in your environment, urging you to make a choice and to move forward. If not to make a choice, then to somehow otherwise take action. That's followed by the Five of Wands energy. And this indicates to me that there are some conflicts involved here. You may be feeling a little blocked from making a choice amongst your many options because of some competition, some rivalry. There's a sense here that there's more involved. There are more stakeholders than just you impacted by the choices that you're going to be making. But then we have this Seven of Wands energy following that note of conflict. And the Seven of Wands is, for me, really it's really speaking to the fact that, yes, there are others involved. There are other people that will be impacted by your choice, but you're the one. There are all these other wands, and only one of them is burning the fire and offering the clarity and taking it upon themselves to show the path forward. And I see that as a metaphor for you. There are other people, there's competition, there are some rivals, there are folks that are not competition, but they will be impacted by the choice you end up making. And some of them, some of these others, may be forcing you, or trying to anyway, force you into a sense of urgency. Like you have to act immediately. You really need to get going. Come on, you need to take action, Cancer. Hurry up. And it's up to you to decide. But what I'm sensing here from Spirit is there are all those voices and there are all those people that want you to decide, but you're the one that holds the torch. You are the one that has earned the right to make a choice among all of the options. And they don't really have any say in this because you're the one who has earned the position of choice. So if what you need is some quiet time to figure it all out, then that is absolutely what you should take, Cancer. So what are you shedding? I look at that and I think what you're shedding is the tendency to be too influenced by other people. These are your choices. This is your life. And most importantly, this is your future that you're deciding by making the choice. So I kind of get the sense that what you need to shed, what it would be useful for you to leave behind, is feeling that you must make a choice based on the pressure you're receiving from these other people in your environment. Because you are the one that has to decide. And although your decision may impact other people, it will absolutely impact you. So you need to think about yourself here. We'll do some clarifiers on that in a minute, but I want to look at the next row first, which is focusing on your path forward to personal growth. We have the Hanged Man coming in first here. You're in a bit of a holding pattern here. You could break out of it when you choose, because you're free to do that, but you're holding yourself back. You realize that you need to give something up. There needs to be a sacrifice of one thing for something greater. And that has a lot to do with these choices, I think. You've got something now, but you could have something else. And that something else, or one of those many something else's, would be perhaps a better choice for you than what you have now. But that decision, again, lies with you, and you have to make the choice. The High Priestess comes in next, and this card is really speaking to the role your intuition is going to play in the choices you're making. Your intuition is strong now, it's heightened, and you're in a good position to maybe sit and contemplate, meditate, or just something less formal, just go out in nature, by a body of water, just sit and listen to what your mind is saying. If you need something a little more formal than that, take a notebook, write down your many options, play a game of if this, then that. And by that I mean one option. If I choose option one, then what happens? And then what happens? And then what happens? And do that for 4 or 5 steps on each of your choices and see how you feel when you read what you've written. This can be a useful tool when you're trying to make decisions. The next card up here is the 6 of Wands. And this is about some success. There's some sense here of victory. So I feel like in October you are going to make this choice at your own time. not when others are demanding that you move forward or take action. But sometime in October, you will decide, and it will be the right choice for you. It will feel like a victory. We have another 6 right next to that. I thought that was the 6 of Wands, but maybe those aren't wands. Maybe those are swords. All right. So what I just said about the 6 of Wands is this one, the victory. I think I must have read this as wands in someone else's reading. I'm just thinking that now. I'll have to figure out which reading that was in and make a note in the notes. Looks like wands, doesn't it? I mean, I guess if I look closely, it looks like swords. I probably should have paid more attention. Anyway, 6 of Wands, that's your victory. You're making a choice. It's the right choice. But you also have the 6 of Swords, and that is a good energy too. There's good and bad. No good or bad, I suppose, technically. But this is about leaving something behind. You're moving on from something. And it's echoing this need that we see in the Hanged Man, to make some sort of sacrifice for something, to give something up for something of greater value. You're moving on from something there. We'll do some clarifiers to see if we can get any guidance there. So we have the 6 of Swords, the 6 of Wands. There's progression here. So although you're not, moving and taking action on someone else's timeline, you're doing it at your speed. You are moving forward. You are taking action. And the Wheel of Fortune is here just to remind you that this is a natural progression. There are always points in our life where we need to make choices. And as we make those choices, our environment changes, who we're spending our time with, what we're spending our time on. All of these things are naturally meant to go in a cycle and to progress. You are now moving into another season, literally and figuratively here. So we'll get to these, the two regarding your purpose in a bit, but I want to look for a little bit of clarification here. What should we look for clarification on? With regard to what you're shedding, perhaps we could have a card of clarification, Spirit, for Cancer on the 7 of Cups. Do we have any clarification on the 7 of Cups for Cancer? It's the Chariot in reverse. Let's see if I can show you. Focus. Excuse me. Pardon me. You feel to some extent that the choice is not in your control. Something about the choice doesn't seem to be yours to make, which is counter to what I was sensing earlier. So maybe we can have a clarifier on that Chariot in reverse. Maybe a Chariot in reverse clarifier, Spirit. With regard to the 7 of Cups, we have the Hermit showing up again. So there's a strong sense here of needing to be in contemplation. And perhaps you're feeling that it's not within your control, that the choice is not within your control because you're not ready to make a choice. You really need time to consider and to think through. I want to look at that Son of Swords energy in relation to the 5 of Wands. Is there any further guidance around that pressure to take action that may be coming from another party? Spirit, do we have any clarification for Cancer on the Son of Swords and the 5 of Wands? It's the King of Wands in reverse. I can see him. So I sense here that there's someone or some ones, there could be more than one person. There's an overbearing energy of somebody who has just unrealistic expectations for you. It could be a parent, it could be a mentor, could be a boss. Somebody is looking at you and your present situation, and they're saying you should be further along. You aren't doing enough. Why haven't you decided yet? You should have applied to that program. This is what I'm hearing. There's just a voice that's just in your head and constantly riding you, expecting you to live the life that they wanted to live, but they never actually had the courage to pursue. Wow, okay, so that just came out of nowhere. But I think that's really what's happening here. This pressure to make a choice, this conflict, this rivalry, which isn't really a rivalry in the natural understood sense, but more a parent who's trying to live through a child. Now, this could be a parent who's actually in your sphere right now, putting pressure on you. Decide amongst your job offers. Make a choice about your school. Go ahead. Make a commitment and propose to your spouse to your partner so that they become your spouse. There's a real pressure from a parental figure, though it could also be a boss who's made you an offer of promotion and you're not quite ready to say yes to it, but they really want you to make a choice so they can move on. It's more of that, like, just there's some authority, somebody you respect and you have always felt had your best interests at heart, but they are putting so much pressure on you right now, and it has everything to do with what they thought they maybe would have liked to have achieved, but they were in some way, quote unquote, robbed of doing. It's not your responsibility to live their life for them. That's just, I feel compelled to say that. Let's look at that Seven of Wands. Here we have the Queen of Swords coming out reversed. Focus. Queen of Swords coming out reversed brings this brings a note of manipulation. And I think that it is definitely a manipulative energy. This authority figure who's trying to pressure you into making a choice quickly when you're not ready to. I think it's qualifying this Seven of Wands simply to say, be aware that it's your decision. It's not theirs. But there will be a wave of manipulation around it. Let's look at your second row now, Cancer. For your focus on personal growth, let's look at the Hanged Man. See if there's any further guidance from Spirit around the Hanged Man for Cancer. Do you have any further guidance for Cancer, Spirit, around the Hanged Man? There are some situations where we aren't getting any. There's a Two of Cups coming out. This has to do with a partnership. Sorry, focus. Come on. There's the green there in this deck is meant to speak to the heart energy, the heart chakra. The Two of Cups, it can be about a romantic partnership. It could also be just a non-romantic partnership, a close friendship. There's a connection there. It could be that you've begun a relationship recently and you're holding off making choices because you know that whatever choice you make, it's going to impact that relationship that's just started. And you're liking this connection. It's giving you something really great. It feels good. I can feel it. It's warm. It's warm, Cancer. You're really happy with this person. But you're not sure how to keep that and also make one of the choices that's in front of you. So that's making you hesitate. It's kind of complicating things for you in a way you didn't expect. Let's look at the Six of Swords. One I thought was wands, that's actually swords. this transition and leaving behind, moving on energy. Spirit, do you have any further guidance around the Six of Swords for Cancer? Any further guidance around the Six of Swords for Cancer? We have a Knight of Wands in reverse. And a lot of reversals here. You are afraid, to some extent, a little afraid, that moving on may be it's hard for you to have a conversation with the people in your life about moving on. There's an apprehension that you may be seen as reckless when you make your choice. So out of all the choices you're looking at right now, Cancer, I get the sense that one of them is really a huge leap, a major step toward your dream, and it doesn't look like the most practical one on the list, but you know in your heart it's the one you want. And you're afraid that when you move on, because making that choice involves you moving on, people will label you reckless. They will believe that you are being impulsive and that you haven't really thought things through. And you probably already know which one of your choices that it relates to. But if you don't, you could take a die, a single dice, assuming you only have 6 or 7 options to choose among. Assign each of your choices a number, and then roll the single die, roll it. And whichever one your mind says, I hope it's, as it's rolling, then you know. That's the one your heart wants. And it may not be the most practical choice. That doesn't mean it's not the right one. So keep that in mind. Let's look at, this is our victory card. This is success. Maybe we'll just do a single qualifier here on the Wheel of Fortune and how things are changing. See if there's any further guidance from Spirit there. You have some exciting options in front of you, it looks like. You have a pretty exciting month ahead in October, Cancer. The Knight of Pentacles has come out. Again, it's reversed. Oh, I'm sorry, it's not a knight, it's a king. The King of Pentacles reversed. So we have a king and a queen and another king and a knight. We have a lot of royalty chiming in here. So pretty significant decisions being made this month, Cancer. So your King of Pentacles reversed energy. What is that telling us about the choices and the way things are progressing? It's adding a note here that just as people might think you're being a little reckless, they might also feel you're being indulgent. And maybe you are. Who says that that's wrong? It's just this notion we have that we're not supposed to give ourselves good things. We're not supposed to actually have fun in our life because some other people have chosen not to. I think that's complete BS, by the way. We're here to live. As long as you're not harming anyone else in the process, why can't you have everything? Why can't you make a choice that leads to success for you, for joy, for fulfillment, for happiness, for money and love? Why is it why is there this dichotomy, like you're allowed to have money but not love, or love but not money? No, that's a false dichotomy. You can have everything if you truly believe that you deserve it. Because you do deserve it. You deserve to be able to make the choice that's right for you, not the choice that's right for someone else. Yeah. So it's going to be an interesting month, Cancer, I think. Let's look at your 2 cards with regard to purpose. So we have the 2 of Swords here. You can see. And that 2 of Swords energy is just speaking to difficult choices, being in a space of indecision. We've talked about all of that already. It's just echoing what we've seen earlier. And then the 8 of Pentacles is this really good energy. You're in this phase of learning new skills, and you're having some initial success where you're seeing that you can in fact take care of yourself. It's the card, for me, and maybe not for all readers, it's a card of self-sufficiency. So this spider knows how. When it's born, it knows how to weave a web. Nobody teaches a spider how to weave its web. And that web catches its food, and it holds the egg sac when the spider creates their egg sac for the next generation. It everything the spider needs, it creates from its, it harvests from the web, it uses the web is its home that it's built for itself. This spider has everything to take care of itself, and it knows when it's born how to do this. And to some extent, our self-sufficiency requires some learning of skills, but the fundamental aspect of being self-sufficient is a confidence and a belief in self, and we're all born with that. It gets taught out of us to some extent through parents and schools, etc. Not all of us, but many of us are put into this box of conformity, and we forget. And for you, presently, you are being reminded, you are learning anew that you can take care of yourself. You have what you need to make the decisions that will lead to a good future for you. And you're making difficult choices, but you have all the skills you need to make those choices. And I get this reading with regard to what this has to do with your purpose. It's an essential part of getting to a place where you can fulfill your purpose in this life, to get back in touch with that understanding that you are everything you need to be, to get back in touch with that confidence in self, which is going to be essential, it seems, for your fulfillment of purpose. Looks like a pretty exciting month, I'd have to say. We're going to pull one of these cards now. It's the Magic of You Oracle from Fiona Horn, and I want to show you the artist. Her name is Marcela Bolivar. Artwork is beautiful, so I want to make sure I give credit where it's due. It is just one more bit of information from Spirit for Cancer. I have a feeling it's this one. And this is just to help further illuminate your month. You've gotten card 12, Hex. Sorry, the overhead lights are really strong. And we can't focus and avoid the glare. Be still and allow the enemy to reveal themselves. So, I feel like this is definitely speaking to this pressure, this cohort, persons who are pushing you to do what they think you should do, as opposed to what is right for you. Let's look at 12. I'm going to read the book for you here. Hold the card up. It's kind of hard to see. It's very dark. I think there's a person there wearing a helmet, and the glare from the overhead lights isn't helping, but You can see her neck and her hair, her mouth. She's got a mask on with ram horns. It's really amazing art. So let's see if we can do this without the lights affecting it. Have to do. Be still and allow the enemy to reveal themselves. Don't underestimate the impact you are making right now. If you sense resistance and are feeling frustrated or angry in the face of it, don't succumb to feeling powerless. The opposite is true. The Hex Maiden holds her head high, her demeanor calm. She appears to be in contemplative repose, and from this relaxed, non-reactive position, she can best see and feel everything and is well informed. Like her, be on alert but guard your heart, your opinions, and mask your feelings. Resist the urge to lash out and attack. Stand strong and silent and allow the enemy to reveal themselves. The sun rises on the horizon of the dark sky. The perils of the night are lifting, but there is work to be done to restore balance. It is the winds of change that fan the maiden's hair and stir the obscuring mist to rise to rise up from the valley floor, clearing to show the way ahead. If this card is drawn in conjunction with Nunoia, it's not, so let's just ignore that. If you're brave enough to face your future, then you are brave enough to face yourself first. Wow. All right. So this is calling to mind this, making the decision and understanding yourself better, facing yourself. But overall, the sense tends to be that this push on you from other people, trying to control you, trying to urge you quickly to make decisions that you need time to think about before you make. The guidance from Spirit is to just be calm. Don't let that get you to a point of being impulsive due to anger or frustration. Let them talk and listen, and don't react. Don't be reactive. Focus on what matters to you, which is considering all of your choices and finding some quiet space in which to consider them further. Excuse me. I have the feeling, I'm having a lot of throat issues at the moment, that you're not used to standing up for yourself, Cancer. Whoever this pressure is coming from, you're not used to talking back. You're not used to saying no. This may not be the first time they've tried to make your decision for you by pushing you. But it's the last. Let's just say that. So good luck with everything. I think it's going to be a fantastic month. I think you're going to end this month feeling this victory, feeling really capable, really self-sufficient, really like you've grown so much in the space of just a month. And that's really exciting news. So thank you so much for sharing this time with me. It's such an honor to be able to do these readings for you. I think that's probably it. Maybe we'll see you in the weeklies, and if not, maybe we'll see you next month. Blessings, Cancer.